Hi everyone, welcome to episode 11, part 2 of Stars and the Cards, where we're going to be exploring Sagittarius season. So let me welcome my co-host, Marisa from Growing the Flow. Welcome back. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm excited to explore where to from here.
Yes, where to after this decision-making time of the full moon in Gemini, and now we made a choice. Now where are we going with that, with the Sagittarius energy?
Yes, we've decided what are we packing in our bags, what's coming with us. Now that we've cleared everything out and released things, we're getting ready for the new. So we're going to see where to from here.
Yeah, what we're going to build.
What are we building with all those blocks we talked about in episode 11, where we were getting all of these new pieces to the puzzle? So let's get our decks out because we have some different ones. We're bringing back light seers. I really love this one for just getting a little general spread that gives us a peek into the energies. And then we're going to use the enchanted map. So that's a different one that we haven't used before. And we thought that was good for journeying into the unknown, into exploration, the great beyond, and seeing, what adventures lie ahead.
Sounds very Sagittarian to me.
Yes. So let's see. So should we do 4 right out the gate for this one, do you think?
Yeah, let's afford the 4 energy, because number 4 has been coming up a lot in the last reading. So let's see what the 4 wants to tell us.
We got little Emperor energy in our first set of card pulls. So we had a lot of 4. We had a lot of that Emperor energy coming in.
And I was just checking that by the time that this will air, Mercury will be just about moving into the sign of Capricorn. So we were just talking that Mercury is actually not hanging around in Sagittarius for very long, because it's moving into Capricorn on December 1st. Yeah, December 1st, Mercury moves into Capricorn. So we have more of this pointed towards Capricorn season. What's going to be happening there?
Pointing, so taking the arrow of the archer and pointing it somewhere and seeing where to, right? So what are we honing in on? So let's see. Our first card is Hierophant.
Ooh.
Okay, so major arcana kicking us off with a significant archetype. We're leveling up, right? We're ascending, we're going upwards when we talk about exploring where to.
That's another aspect of that Earth energy. We had all this Capricorn talk last time, this time, and here we go to Virgo. And of course, to become a Capricorn, this self-mastery, the CEO, we have to have a lot of trial and error, the learning and adjusting, which is this Virgo archetype, the Hierophant energy. We have to sit with it and put it into practice. Again, the wisdom, the discernment,
have the experiences that translate into the wisdom.
Exactly.
See, major.
Oh my God.
The wheel. I love this one. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so the wheel turns, right? The seasons shift, and we're preparing for the seasons to shift anyway. The solstice that'll be coming up then towards the end of December on the other side. But yeah,
which will mark the beginning of the Capricorn season. The cardinal energy, in northern hemisphere, the beginning of winter; in southern hemisphere, the beginning of summer. It's the cardinal energy. So there is definitely a shift coming in Capricorn season. I can tell already.
Yeah, maybe multiple shifts, because we see those layers coming up there for sure.
Because with Gemini, it's all about choice, multiple timelines. Oh,
major,
the cover girl.
Major. She winked at me as soon as I picked up the deck. I saw her because we were talking about the Emperor, and I was like, oh, there's the Divine Feminine peeking in there. So we've got the High Priestess coming in.
And my tarot teacher always says that when the Hierophant turns out, sorry, not the Hierophant, the Hermit, when the Hermit turns up, the High Priestess has a message for you. And here we have the High Priestess directly. So the High Priestess is telling us that there is something in the unknowns that is revealing.
Well, what I always say about the High Priestess is representing your wise self, your higher self. And whenever we present her with a question, if she's sassy, she says, what are you asking me for? You already know, right? You already know. So again, we're being stretched to access those parts of ourself that have that wisdom, that carry that forward when it comes to wanting more clarity around where to from here. So let's see. I don't know. Is it going to be a sweep of major arcana?
Well, one minor last time out of all the
Good.
majors. So let's see what's the fourth one.
What's coming forward? Clean sweep, the Hermit.
Oh, he's the Hermit. Yeah, I got it confused.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was Hermit. It was Hierophant, and now you have the Hermit. So, oh my God, four.
I was going to say that's why you said Virgo, because I was like,
that's
yeah, but
Taurus.
right,
Hierophant is Taurus.
Earth energy nonetheless, right? So
yeah, because I thought, well, he's sitting. I don't know why I straight away got it like, oh, it must be Hermit, but Hermit is there, but Hermit turned up regardless. So Hermit is with us.
But isn't it interesting, both of their posture, and one being at the bottom of the staircase and one floating above, you know, the pathway. So there's, you know, there's
also below.
There's wisdom in both, right? And so regardless of where you are in your journey, in your earthly journey, since they're both really bringing us into that, you know, these physical experiences, wow, this is significant. We have a sweep of
4 major arcana. That's what I mean. Like, there's definitely something turning in this Sagittarius season that is preparing us for these new beginnings, and we already had that kind of nuance last time by the 2 Emperor cards, which is the Aries quality, as like I said, it's the either way is Mars, but
right.
New beginnings, right? New beginnings, and Capricorn is the cardinal energy, is the new beginnings, and we have the preparation here. Like, you know, things are being preparing for that, like with the Taurus, you know, with the, you know, obviously Wheel of Fortune is the Jupiter itself, and then we have the High Priestess, the spiritual realms, and the Hermit. Like, everything is preparing us for whatever is coming next.
And it feels like, you know, last time with the double Emperor energy, there was all this talk about the stability, the structure, the plan. These are a little bit more like, hey, what are you asking me for? You already know. Go within. The answers are there. And this one, she's got dice around her neck. If you can see, I love that. The fuzzy dice. The wheel turns. You know, it's like a gamble. You know, you go for it. Leave it up to destiny, you know, wherever I'm headed. So there's definitely more of an exploratory energy, I feel. But it is rooted, though, in trusting your intuition and trusting your inner knowing, you know, because that's here. And also here because it's all learning. That's the one thing I do love about the Hierophant, is no matter where you find yourself on the staircase, on the path, you know, and whatever, even if you go up, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, that didn't work, I tried that path. There was learning and growth and healing in all of it. So there's just this energy of like, well, we can't go wrong, because if you're following the best map, you know, that we could put in head, as we talk about the enchanted map, is this blueprint of following your intuition, your inner knowing, you know, connecting in with both the light and the shadow. You know, there's duality in that, and recognizing that it's all a part of this ascension journey, you know, that we are on.
And I remember we had the Wheel of Fortune coming a few readings ago. I forgot which one was it exactly, but we were already talking about that the wheel is about to turn, and which direction is it going to turn is up to you. Because with the first card, obviously the Hierophant represents the Taurus, which I feel is, you know, exactly like you said, that everything you need is already within you. Because with the Taurus is this, like, you know, like your self-reliance, your trust within yourself, that you know that within you exists to create what you want. And then with the Higher Priestess is like, you know, like the connection to your intuition. With Hermit, you actually had to sit with yourself and ground the energy to be able to use it, you know, to be able to use it, because it's always there. You know, your physical abilities and your intuitive abilities, they're always there, but we just have to master them. Like, you know, that's the Virgo, you know, the path to self-mastery, that is then Capricorn, and it's also this trial and error, you know, the experience, the wisdom, the discernment. But I really feel that it's so magical that last time we were talking about the full moon in Gemini, with obviously after the Saturn retrograde, you know, 5 months, now we have more clarity with regards to something that began on June 17th, when we had new moon in Gemini, and it's all about the choice. But we didn't know what we're choosing, because we didn't know, you know, like we didn't have this experience of Saturn Capricorn for the first Saturn in Pisces for the first time retrograding in Pisces. And now we know, now we understand what we didn't know 6 months ago. And now with that, we have the opportunity to turn the wheel, to, you know, like with the full moon in Gemini, make the choice. And now what you're gonna do, you know, like if you trust yourself, if you trust your intuition, and you know how to use this energy, because with the Hermit, you know, it's this masterful energy, then that you have the opportunity to completely change your life. And then with the Capricorn season, start something different, put the blueprints, you know, the blueprints, the stability, the new direction.
And I think that's such a good point too, because there's an opportunity for us to say, okay, I think back to you know, what I know now through the experience. So I always like my time machine. So if we go back to June 17th, or we're reflecting on, you know, what were those changes that at the time I couldn't see the top of the staircase. I didn't know what was around the bend on the path, but now I do, right? So now that's come clear because I trusted, I put one foot in front of the other, or maybe I went kicking and screaming, whatever my experience was to get there. I now have the wisdom of that experience. If there's something that I'm standing on now that's feeling unbalanced, ungrounded, I'm not sure, what should I do? What are you asking me for? You already know. Can I feel into, oh, well, yeah, actually, it did all work out, you know, even though I didn't see everything. And can I start to maybe feel a little bit more sure in my footing, even if I can't see, because I've had these experiences, and I can resonate with the vibration of what it feels like to not know, you know, or not be sure, or be rolling the dice and you know, leaving it up to destiny or whatever will be. That there's trust in knowing that when you take a step, you know, that's you telling the universe, you know, with the intention and how you step forward. Each step will then be illuminated for you, or as you approach the bend, you know, it's illuminated by, and it's coming from within you, you know. So there's just this kind of coming full circle of these prior experiences we've had, and ending up going for it, or however we've arrived here, we're here. So what did I learn from all of that, and how can I apply it to that which I don't know now, that I might be feeling varying degrees of emotions about?
Yeah, I really feel like, because I know for sure that we had the Wheel of Fortune coming up at the same reading as the Hermit. And now I really don't know whether it was like eclipse, pre-eclipse reading or something. It was one of the, you know, it was either Virgo or Libra season, I'm pretty sure. So it's interesting because, of course, Libra was the other cardinal energy when we had the equinox, right? And now the wheel is turning again. And it's, to me, it's just hilarious how the guy on the first card is just like laughing, you know, like, ha ha ha, you know, like he's like having such a laugh, because it's about this Taurus energy. That, you know, like, how much do you really trust yourself? How much do you really know yourself, your needs and values? And that really takes me back to this Virgo season, because I remember us back to school, back to Slovakia, and all the learning and adjusting that had to take place at the time, where things, you know, obviously shifted again. And now we had to be, you know, flexible with everything that was coming to us to manage our schedules and everything. And now, based on these adjustments that we had made, and you know, the things that we learned and stuff like that, now we see completely different picture. Even though, okay, there was Virgo season, that was not Gemini season, but it's all this mutable cross, which is all about these adjustments. So now, once again, in this Sagittarius season of exploration, we are making adjustments based on everything we've learned since the Gemini season, throughout the Virgo season, you know, these are the mutable, you know, signs that we had. And now there is an opportunity, because now you know yourself better, you know what you're capable of, because you have to make all these adjustments, you have to die and be rebirthed during Scorpio season, and all these things that took place in between June and now. And now, you know yourself better, you know your boundaries better, you know what matters to you, and hopefully you can trust yourself more. So now it's an opportunity for the wheel to turn again.
Yeah, and feel maybe a little more stable in the midst of things shifting, you know. And like, this does show multiple layers. These are kind of like gears, or the different layers showing us that like many things could be moving at the same time, you know, always will be moving, you know. We know that to be true, because there's those things that are happening in our microcosms, in our lives, and things happening in the collective, and season changing, and all those things happening all at the same time. And then, you know, maybe being really clear on like, well, what am I focusing on in that moment? You know, what is it that I'm focusing on while I know all of those gears are in motion, and that you know, I don't have to take on the entire staircase at once. I always say about him, is he laughing or crying? You know, he kind of has this expression like, you know, because when I say, I think he looks like he's laughing, like you said, but it's like, is he laughing? Is he crying? Like, is he like
euphoria, euphoric
you know,
state?
yeah, he's just having a release. But the idea being, doesn't matter because it's all learning. It's all ascension, whether you go kicking and screaming or whether you go with your plans, you know, your very structured plans. You're gonna have learning and growth and healing through it all. So it's like, you know, now we kind of, I like to think about the packing our bag and giving me that energy of sort of setting out, exploring the new with all my newly acquired tools, the wisdom of the experiences that I had through all of those different seasons, and, you know, sort of being up for adventure or whatever comes our way, you know, what's coming next.
That to me is just so perfect, because you see like this, obviously the, you know, emperor class as Aries is the new beginning. It's like the beginning of the journey, just like, you know, the Fool. And then when you get to Taurus as the second sign of the zodiac, it's like, okay, now you're exploring what matters to you, what are your needs and values, you know, it's like you're growing into yourself. So it's interesting that we had the emperor and now we have in the Hierophant, which is the following card. And, you know, this is like, you know, from the traditional deck point of view, from the Rider-Waite Tarot, you have the emperor, which is like, yeah, he's the king. But then you had the Hierophant, which was the church, which was a bigger authority. So to me, it's like, okay, now you like, you know, put in the groundwork, you know, you went through the military training, you learned this and this, but, you know, to me, even though this is a Taurus energy, it's still kind of like, it's got somehow the spiritual aspect for me in it. You know, I'm tapping into Pisces there, maybe the sextile to Pisces, which is like, okay, but what is the deeper, you know, the going deeper, you know, this deeper within your core. And also it's interesting about what you pointed out about the Wheel of Fortune. It's the
It is the wheel. Yeah,
the Wheel of
it's
Fortune.
called the wheel on here, but yep.
Yeah, it's the Wheel of Fortune. That there are multiple wheels, because to me it feels like the book that you mentioned previously, the Choose Your Adventure, because it's all these multiple timelines and she's hopping from one wheel to another, and she's like, okay, this is my wheel. I've decided this is the adventure I want to have, wherever it's going to take me. Of course, you can always choose a different one, but that's what it, to me, represents this, you know, post full moon in Gemini energy, where, yeah, you make a choice and then it's going to lead to a certain adventure, certain learning, just, you know, like at the end, the hermit, the learning as well. And that's why we always say that we are all having different realities, different experiences. You choosing your own wheel, and that own wheel is going to give you a different experience, which is going to teach you something different. You know, it's going to lead to a different path to self-mastery, but we're all going to get where we need to go. It's just through having a different experience, maybe having a different timeline, right? So that's why I just think it's so fascinating how all these cards are like, you know, adding to each other.
Yeah, it's all the same. It's like laughing, crying, kicking, screaming, going there really regimented, you know, whatever way you take, whatever wheel you turn, whatever path you walk on, wherever you are on the staircase is your experience that you're uniquely having. And so, you know, I feel like there's a lot of like self-exploration going on here too, or maybe like realization too, like along the path we're realizing, because there's not a lot of interaction with others happening here. It's very much like sort of moving through all of these different chapters for ourselves. And it's funny you said that about the choose your own adventure, because I was also getting, and I don't even know if it was at the same time when we talked about Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about those emperors and thinking about the sphinxes and the whole like you're not passing through here unless you are coming authentic and genuine and having, you know, like, so it's just kind of getting echoes of these messages that we've been getting over many months, you know, and just thinking back to where we were along the journey then and what we know now and how we can take all of those things and extract the learning, extract the tools, and journey forward.
And I really feel, because of course, you know, the Wheel of Fortune is the Jupiter. It is about the higher perspective, like think from the higher perspective. I mean, she's on the top of the world, right? She sees things in a different way because she's, you know, somewhere where she maybe hasn't been before. So it's, I really feel that, you know, like, especially because we have 2 earth cards and 1 water card, you know, and of course there is the fire in it, but like predominantly it's a feminine energy, which again is so confusing because once again we're going into masculine energy season, you know, with the Sagittarius, the planets moving into masculine signs, you know, like most of them in Sagittarius, or Venus still in the sign of Libra until beginning of December. So there is a lot of yang energy, but all in that we can see through the card that this is actually all about your own inner exploration, about your self-discovery, which is what this North Node in Aries represents, is the path of self-discovery, to actually you become your own leader, your own authority, your own authentic self, your own individuated, liberated self, and the choice you make with that, which then going to give you whichever experience you want to have, and you know, whatever you want to learn from it. So that's what I feel like, you know, like right now we are in such a challenging times for sure, but it's got so much potential for truly having your own unique individuated experience, because you can choose consciously.
Yeah. And I feel like we, you know, like the version of us who shows up now has ascended beyond where we were when we went back to school, you know, back to Slovakia or whatever, you know, wherever we've been on these adventures, because now we come in with even more wisdom and more awareness too. I mean, and it turns out it was with us the whole time, right? But we've uncovered it. And so, you know, that makes me feel more optimistic about the journey. But all the while, I'm not kidding myself that there's going to be light and shadow. They're both going to be a part of it. So I know that there's going to be those aspects, but I feel better equipped to experience and move through them because of what I know now.
Yeah, because you're looking at it from that, you know, from the mature, wise point of view, and through the eye of your third eye, through your intuition. Because all these cards to me are very spiritual. You know, I see very, very spiritual, deep meaning in all these cards. Even though, yeah, you can say Hierophant, yeah, Taurus, you know, very about survival and stuff, but that's not all Taurus represents. Taurus is the physical manifestation of you being in a human incarnation. And without this body, without this shell, without this avatar, sorry, you cannot get very high or very far, because everything has to be in alignment. We came here to have a human experience. So that's why when we actually learn to appreciate our body and communicate, because it's through the body you get all these intuitive hits, the nudges, the goosebumps, this, you know, it's through the body. So I really feel that actually when we master that awareness, that actually we can become so much more spiritual when we learn to appreciate and ground and use this, you know, beautiful equipment properly. Then it actually like skyrockets you on your spiritual journey, because we will no longer be in a like in a resistance, you know, because a lot of people, they just want to get high, be spiritual, like take all this, you know, plant medicine and whatever. And I mean, like, it's all got a place, you know, there is opportunity for experiencing everything. But when we are continuously escaping the true essence of human experience, then you know, it doesn't give us the same depth, I don't feel. So I feel that's where I feel this here not just Hierophant, but the Hermit, you know, that we really need to like go outside, gather the information, go within, process the information, discern, and all that. And amongst all of that is this growth, this wheel, you know, this opportunity to see in the world from different perspective, having a different experience. But all in all, this high priestess, you know, there is something that we still don't know, something that is hidden, which we can only found by going through all this, you know, by going within.
Having the experience. But in order to do that, you do need the physical vessel. So they're both needed. So I like how one's on the ground, one's above. And also, as we were saying, like, oh, there's all this masculine energy, but yet there's feminine. Yeah, because both are necessary. We need both. It's the balance between the two. Same with the physical and the spiritual, you know, and all those things coming into balance. So it's definitely showing us that for sure through these cards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's but I mean, having a 4 major arcanas, that's a profound, you know.
Yeah, so it's a significant finale to the calendar year as we move through Sagittarius season for sure, and on this leg of the journey to round out the year of the Chariot, right? So we finish out the journey and then step into the new in 2024. So yeah, this is definitely significant.
Yeah, this is that's why I really felt like what we were tapping into, that November is a turning point. It's the end. November is the end because the true new year is starting now in Sagittarius season, because this is where you're making the choice and literally like setting in your GPS where you want to go. Where is the navigation? Just like with the compass there, literally this is the month when we put in the navigation into the next leg of the journey, which will be the 2024, the year number 8, which is all about again Saturnian qualities, the Jupiter Saturn, the expansion, but also opportunity for growth, abundance. But it takes work. It's not just going to fall on our lap necessarily.
And it comes from within, because, well, when we talk tarot, we're talking about the strength card, and we're talking about taming that beast and bringing balance into all of the dualistic aspects. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to unpack there too, as we roll forward. Yeah. And set the coordinates. I was thinking when you're saying about the compass, I'm like, yeah, put the coordinates in, you know, where, and that map. But again, we come back to sort of staying open and flexible to deviations in the plan, and making, you know, changes where we will, because we're choosing our own adventure, and we reserve the right to change, make a new choice anytime, you know, with what we know now. So there's no pressure in locking in anything at this point, because we're just making the decision that resonates here and now, you know, as we set out.
Yeah, because astrologically we have the, you know, the high priestess is the Cancer energy, which is cardinal sign. Then we have the Taurus, which is fixed sign. But the two other cards, the wheel is Sagittarius, Jupiter, and the, you know, the Hermit is Virgo. So that's mutable signs. So I really feel, again, like not in chronological order, but if you feel you can trust yourself, and, you know, then you listen to your intuition, which, you know, always gives you, you know, these new inputs, this, you know, this cardinal energy. You can always try something different because your intuition is always guiding you. But then you ground it in your body, because, you know, like, you know, it has to like kind of feel right in your body. This Taurus, like, does it resonate with me? Does it make me feel good? Does it make me feel scared? What does it do to me? You know, like, to be connected with actually yourself. And then, yeah, and then we remained flexible, because whatever wheel you're gonna choose to stand on is gonna give you an experience and a learning curve. Or like through the, you know, through the Hermit, you sit with it, you process it, you discern about it, and then you gain a higher perspective from this experience you just had. So, and that's literally life. That's literally the story called life. Like, you know, we might want to stay attached to everything staying the same and always being, you know, stuck in a comfort zone and stuff. But how much learning is that? You know, like, I mean, it gets to the point where it cannot take you any further. And that's why, you know, collectively we are in, you know, experiencing what we're experiencing, individually we experiencing what we're experiencing, because it's time. With Saturn being in Pisces, it's time to change the, you know, to shuffle it around and, you know, change the wheel.
Yeah, change it up, change courses, and maybe even consult the map again to see where we want to go. So maybe we'll
exactly.
pick our punctuation on the journey here.
I think that it's a perfect deck to go with what we just, you know, what you just pulled out, what we just came up with.
Yeah, so let's see what's coming forward with the enchanted map. A little punctuation for these major messages.
Some coordinates.
The coordinates. Let's see, I don't know this deck as much. Oh, Sacred Pool 47.
Number 11.
Number 11. It is very muted actually, but it's definitely bringing in flow because it's a pool. So there's this energy of water. I'm going to put my glasses on for this one because
it's interesting that it's got the number 4 and 7 again, and 7 we end in the year of Chariot, and then the 4 is coming up again.
Yeah, I'm also seeing like a little bit of ripple effect, like pebbles in the water that are creating sort of ripples that are rippling out. So you know, whatever we're putting in there, whatever's coming with, or whatever we're factoring in, the residual effects, it's sort of this one, like, you know, each one kind of interconnected. If you remember in the first episode 11, we at the end we pulled out joy and stability, and it had those interconnected rings. So it's sort of like this ripple effect that I see coming out there. Yeah, I got to look and see, because I want to see the expanded interpretation, because there's not a lot going on the
Yeah, it's
card.
very hazy. It's
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
hazy.
Piscean, very like nebulous, very unclear, which I think is potentially what it has to be, because we don't know what's behind the veil. Whatever wheel you're gonna choose, you don't have the full clarity where it's going to take you.
Right. We can't see the top of the stairs. We don't see around the bend. What are you asking me for? Go within. You already know the answer's within you. You know, follow how it feels. So to me, that it's definitely the sacred pool is encouraging us to move from within. And it actually is saying that the world is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Embody the love you wish to see in the world. So I feel like this comes up every episode. Rumi, you are not just a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop, right? So sacred pool, of which we are all in, right? We're all here in the earth school. We're all here on the staircase in this sacred pool, and we're one drop, right? One ripple, and really being connected with from within, but also acknowledging that we are the sum total of all of our experiences, our journey, our beliefs, you know, all of the things that are being highlighted really in all these cards, right? Like what we believe, what we see, how we feel. We have this energy of course, the Hierophant, which brings in all the beliefs and structure of all of those hierarchy of things. It's talking about focusing on looking in the mirror and seeing if you like what you see, what's being reflected back to you as far as self-love, self-esteem, reflecting by the sacred pool, and be at peace with yourself. And having a detached self-examination that's made with rigorous honesty, and see if you can really see how far you've come, which is interesting as we're assessing the journey here of the last 11 months, right, of the year, as we come through those 11 months with the number 11 here with this card, and saying, see how far you've come, and can you see how magical your life is? You know, and do you notice the spark of the divine shining through your eyes? When you're conscious that you're the embodiment of spirit, it becomes easier to act in good conscience, and then you'll reap the greatest rewards. So it's talking about your unique service in the world, celebrating that, seeing the love within you, and knowing that you will get that back tenfold when you send that out into the world. So maybe too, we were talking a lot about what's going on within and all of the things very solitary, but when you go out exploring, when you make a choice, when you start setting out, undoubtedly you're encountering others in the sacred pool, right? And we're having these experiences. So opportunities for the ripple effect, and we said as above so below, but as within so without, right? So now we go out and we shine into the world and allow that to ripple.
Wow. And I like, the first thing that came to me was like, you know, literally the spirit is like laughing, because, you know, with the 47, it's like, well, you are all extension of the source. So, you know, just like you said, what you're asking me for. So it's like, well, if you just connect to your own intuition and your guidance, and, you know, like just take a leap of faith, you know, it's just going to give you an experience, because that's what you came here to do. You just came here to have an experience. Don't take it so seriously, because it just is an experience. Because it's like, you know, when we are back to this spirit, which is represented as the ocean, you know, the Neptune, the ocean, you know everything anyway, but you came here for the experience, for the tangible physical experience. And then yes, with the Virgo card, Hermit, it's of a service to others. The frequency of 11, master number frequency, like angelic frequency, is to be service of others. But you came here to serve others, but becoming the best version of your authentic self, by becoming you, becoming the unique expression of the source that you came here to become, which is your purpose. You know, people so you know, they get so hang out about like, oh my god, I don't know what is my purpose, I'm wasting my life, I'm not living my purpose. Your purpose is to be you. So just do whatever makes you happy and feel authentic to you, and that's your purpose. And yet, yes, maybe when you, god knows how old, you look back and then you figure out that, okay, there is certain pattern in my experience that I followed my joy, I follow my, you know, inspiration, and then this is what happened, this is what the creation final creation of that was. But it's not about the final destination. It's not about the final product. It's about the experience. And that is your purpose. Your purpose is for you to be you. And through being you authentically, giving to yourself what you need, that's how you're going to be of a service to others in the highest frequential way, because you'll be spreading love. Because when you do what you love, you become love and you give more love out. So it's not really that difficult. It's not really that complicated. We were just not being taught properly, because we were being conditioned to feel ashamed, to feel guilty for being imperfect. Again, Virgo low vibration, we were talking about it. It's been coming up a lot, even in my clients reading. What is perfect and who decides? It's not about being perfect. It's about having a human experience, because when we go back to spirit, you are perfect and you know everything, but you don't know what chocolate tastes like. That's what you came here to experience. Okay, so that's what I feel with this pool, that is literally saying that, like the high priestess, like, why are you making this so complicated? Just trust yourself, follow your inspiration, and just have the best possible time. You're gonna learn what you learn and help others as you keep doing that. And that's it. That's life, really. It's quite simple. We just make it complicated.
Yeah, and it's simple, but it's so profound, and that's the ripple effect of just the one drop. I keep hearing like a drop in the bucket. It's just a one drop in the bucket, in this sacred pool, and yet it does matter. It's of course it's sacred, but we do put so much pressure and conditions around every single drop. It's like, squeezing it out with such angst, because it goes up against some old belief systems of right and wrong and judgment and shame and all these things that you can just feel the density of those words, and you can feel the weight of those things that can make it very difficult for us to put the focus within, which is what's definitely happening here with these two. This does have that, again, like I have like that mixed relationship with the Hierophant, because in its traditional sense, where it does look very traditional, and very much about those church structure, and which evokes, I don't want to make the wrong choice, I don't want to trip up on this staircase, all of that energy. I'm already out of my intuition. I'm not following my joy. I'm not feeling into what flow. I'm not flowing. I'm judging, I'm criticizing, I'm trying to perfect, and so it's sort of freeing ourselves of those layers. All the while they did play a role, and they did get us to a certain point, but again, it's just a drop in the bucket. It's been an experience along the way that the ripples are, again, it's like I keep wanting to pull this one, where down here it's small like little circle, and they're just getting big, expanding, right? So it's like that ripple effect of like expanding as we go, because with each choice, with each experience, it is interconnected, rippling out into the greater pool. So that's all happening within, and it's all happening without, all at the same time. That's what this one also reminds me of, the whole pat your head, rub your belly, stand on one foot, while they're all spinning, ha ha ha, he's laughing, try to do all that, but it's the game of life, it's the experience of life, and all the things. So I love that. You don't know what chocolate tastes like. So
that's what Bruce Lipton said, by the way. I'm not going to own that quote. That's exactly what he said. He had a conversation with his own intuition. And then he was like, why did I come here? Why would I choose this? It wasn't invented in a spiritual. And they said, but you wouldn't know what chocolate tastes like if you wouldn't have come, or, whatever. Whatever. But, what I wanted to say is, it's so funny, because literally when you were talking about the region, and again, not trying to polarize anyone or, anything, like go into this kind of discussions, but to me, he's like laughing his head off, that guy, because with the pink heart chakra, like the higher heart, right? That's the pink one. The heart chakra is green, but the higher heart is the pink one. And I really feel that this guy is laughing, because does he look like the Hierophant? No, he looks like some yogi, some happy-go-lucky guy. And he's literally saying like, oh my God, how could we buy into the story for so long, that there is someone above you that you should look up to, that tells you how to live your life, where all you really need to do is just to connect with yourself. So to me, he's like literally like, yes, like you said at the beginning, is he laughing or is he crying? I mean, probably both, because it's literally, when we realize that, oh my God, why did I believe that? And you laugh and cry at once because you're so relieved that it was an illusion, but you cry because of like, oh my God, how could I buy into that? So I feel this is like literally like a kind of like Hierophant set free, you know, the traditional Hierophant, like, what? Why would you look up to someone else? It's Taurus. Taurus is you. You know, Taurus is who you are. And then I'm also thinking with this wheel of fortune, you know, because that's literally what is it. The wheel is turning because we see things from a different perspective, and we have the opportunity to become more flexible with regards to belief system, to let go of these rigid, old, archaic belief systems that we inherited. And yes, they had a value in previous incarnations that kept us seen, that they kept us safe, but this is not that incarnation, okay? You know, this is not an incarnation. And then it takes you to High Priestess, which is like your intuition is always there with you. And then there was one more thing that came to me, but it's eluding me now, you know, that like something else that came to me while you were saying. But to me, it's just hilarious because this is literally what comes to me looking at this card, that, you know, like it doesn't, like when you really, really trust yourself and you really are connecting with yourself, you don't need someone else. You don't need news. You don't need the guru. You don't need anyone else, because nobody knows your path, only you. Oh yeah, with the experience. Everything leads to an experience. And this is a question which keeps coming up, same as with the purpose. It keeps coming up quite often with my clients. They say, oh, but what if I make wrong choice? What if I don't use it, the energies? What if I don't use it right? There is no such a thing as wrong choice. There is no such a thing. You cannot make wrong choice. You cannot get it wrong, because this whole human experience is an experience. Like the worst thing is that we bought into the illusion of separateness, and we think that this is something that is like, I don't know, that is going to be forever or something. You know, any of these things we're going through, none of that is going to be forever, ever. You know, so there is that, you know, that is what makes us feel so afraid. This, you know, this fear that, oh my God, you know, I'm mortal, it's not going to last forever, let's get attached to it, but I know I'm going to lose it anyway, so we just keep being afraid, right? But I mean, this is not what it is about, because when we all go back to where we came from and we understand everything, which we forgot now, you know, we will understand that this was all about the experience. It was literally just about the experience. So why do we make it so complicated? Why do we make it so I mean, obviously there has to be a details and complexity to make it believable, but literally once you wake up and you start perceiving reality from that angle, like me, you know, I just have to keep laughing. And I'm not saying I'm not struggling, I'm struggling too. But when really I connect to that, you know, to that Jupiterian aspect of myself, I'm just like, why am I even so hang out about this? Like, I mean, next year it probably won't even matter. Next year I look back at this situation and I think, why was I so worried about it? A year from now, it won't matter, you know? So to me, like literally these cards, they like, they have so many layers, obviously multidimensionality and everything. But to me, it's like literally spirit is just, oh, bless your heart, you know, like, you know, having this loving, you know, fun, like this fun aspect to it, but loving in its caring nature, that it's okay. It's okay, child. You're gonna get there. You're gonna understand, you know, but maybe, you know, not quite ready yet, but it's okay because it's part of the experience and you're learning exactly what you need to know.
Yeah.
So it's all good. Everything is perfect.
And there's nothing wrong about it. It's funny, like I have this like ridiculous story that I don't even know how it relates, but I'm going to tell you either way afterwards. So I'll just say it now, because I was thinking about the Aries energy we talked about last time and the childlike, and, you know, just, and now as we talk about the things we believe and the way we perceived things, and something you were saying, I remember very clearly when I was a child being at the McDonald's, you know, at the register, you know, fast food, waiting in line. And there was music playing in the ceiling. And I thought that there was a band upstairs that was playing the music. Like this made complete sense to me. Like I just remember in hindsight realizing like, oh my gosh, there's a radio, or there's some source of the music is coming from above. So clearly there must be people playing the music in order for it to be coming down. And it made perfect sense to me then in that place, in that time. And so it just was reminding me of like, how we arrived at different beliefs and how we, you know, reason that we use, or the logic, or even being able to look back and kind of laugh at ourselves for something that maybe seems so small or silly or whatever we think. And yet it's just kind of, you were saying, oh, there, child, you know, like this energy of like, you know, oh, isn't that cute? Bless your heart. Like there's a band upstairs, like, you know, and that's what you think because you don't know. And so you can kind of, the lightness that you can have with yourself for recognizing that prior versions of you made choices based on what was available to you at the time and in your consciousness and your awareness or all the things, you know, just sort of, you know, telling you that silly story to say that, you know, there's this sense of like, if we could take some of the weight off of the pressure of these decisions that keep us from making any move or keep us repeating over and over things that aren't working, trying to force that peg, that wheel to turn, where we're actually like pushing the door instead of pulling it, you know, like all of our force, all of our energy, and you're like, oh, you have to pull it. Like, you know, you're pushing. So there's just this energy of like releasing some of that and just allowing it, again, this ripple, the fluidity of the sacred pool just feels like allowing all of that to inform you as you move forward, but to have like a lightness about it and just say, hey, whatever experience comes from this journey that I'm planning, these coordinates that I'm programming, there's going to be learning in it. There's going to probably be laughter. There could be some tears. There's going to be a little bit of all, but that is the human experience. This is what I came here for, you know, so.
The spectrum of, the kaleidoscope and the totality of the spectrum of what we came here to feel as human, because this is a very emotional planet, you know, it's feminine, it's Earth. But also the, you know, like I didn't mean it in a condescending way that, you know, like they like, oh, poor you know, you're so silly. Like, no, it's literally like, you know, when, I mean, you are a mother, so when your children were little and they came up with something totally silly, and you don't go like, you know, thinking that you idiot, you think like, oh, you know, your heart swells up with love for that being, because you know that that's their learning experience, that's what they're going through, and it's perfect for exactly where they are and where they're meant to be. But it's again, which takes us back to this Virgo archetype. It's not about knowing it all and being perfect, because how would you ever learn anything if you never made mistake? And how would you become compassionate, loving, humble person that can extend that compassion, love, and non-judgment to others if you never made mistake? You know, so everything is perfect. That's what I mean. Like everything, and that's what I've been tapping into in my videos. There is no mistake. Nothing is random. Nothing is ever wasted. Even the most awful experiences people can go through, what is the learning in that? What is the gift in that? Well, the gift might be that somebody will become a better version of themselves. Somebody will decide, well, this is what truly matters. Why are we wasting time doing something different? Like, you know, it literally creates an opportunity for change. So yes, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean there will be no tears and heartache and hardship. Absolutely not, because this is a planet of polarity. We came here to experience everything. That's what we sign up for. That's what we chose. And there are rows of souls waiting for this. You know, this is like a unique place, this planet. So with the Wheel of Fortune, you still have the choice. You have the choice to choose your adventure. What's your next adventure? And yes, there's going to be a positive and a negative, because it's like a box of chocolates, right? You don't know what you're going to get. But if you trust your intuition, it will guide you. And, you know, it feels right. It feels right for you. You're going to get exactly the experience that you need to get you where you want to go on a soul level. And there is no mistake. There is no mistake, and you cannot miss your chance, because there will be another one.
Yeah. What's meant for you will not pass you by. The wheel turns, it comes around, and yeah, it's all part of it. So
I don't know. I always, when we pull the cards, I always like, even, I mean, some of the teachers, even my own astrological teacher, you know, like evolutionary astrology teacher, like he can make things so scary. You know, I mean, everything's got polarity. Okay, Aquarian age, let's not be naive. Pluto in Aquarius, okay, let's not be naive. There is a lot of darkness in that. There could be. Well, will this be your experience? It's up to you. You choose your timeline. But I really much more prefer, and this is not a spiritual bypass, because I know this is there. This is in the box of chocolates. We might pick just that one. Who knows? You know, we don't know, right?
it's that like weird one that has like the weird like in it that nobody likes. Yeah, that
That's
can
why I
happen.
always study the ticket. I always, I study the ticket, but which one is which? And, like I always want to choose the one I want.
Our nail in the bottom of the chocolate to peek and see if it was the pink one or if it was caramel or
Right.
and sometimes you pick a chocolate and somebody already put their finger in it.
Yeah. But it's just, it literally is through this, spiritual guidance kind of, I don't know. I really I know it's not gonna be easy. Again, not projecting, onto anyone. It might be very easy for some. Maybe just my experience might not be very easy because I know I'm coming to Pluto square Pluto. But all that said, I know there will be magic in all of it. Like every situation we go through, there's gonna be some magic in it, some positive in it, because you are a divine being, you are magical. You just need to see it in yourself, and which is why I understand why the cards say look in the mirror.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like exactly what you're saying. Yeah, of course we know. We can see this is showing us right here. If you see both the light and the dark in both of these cards, they're both showing us that there is shadow, there is darkness, and the path is dark. There's places I can't see, and yet I get to choose how. This is the finale. This is our grand finale of the year of the Chariot. How am I going to take this journey? I cannot control the weather, the traffic, the road rage, anything that's external outside.
The neighbors.
The neighbors, exactly, right? The noisy neighbors, the reckless drivers, and whoever they are, whatever the experience. But how am I going to take this journey? And so that's personally where I come from when I'm going to choose in an empowered way to use these cards as a tool to say, yeah, I can see the darkness. It's plain to see. I can see that there is light and there is shadow, that there is, that other aspect, the reverse aspect of the card. But I'm choosing how I'm taking the journey, and I'm holding both. And and also, using the other cards around them too, to determine when they're okay, this is really a moment to sit with this 5 of Cups or this 3 of Swords or this Tower or whatever the energies are. But not here. That's not what I see here, because I see that there's always light no matter what. I see that your higher self is seated at the top of every one of these. So that's just my perspective, but I offer that as an option as for the drop that I'm going to put into the bucket. That's what I want to, where I'm coming from. So I think that it's so important to not gloss over, to not bypass the shadow, or to not, it's like, if we just went through a whole experience of a season and you're coming here to tell me the highlights and the low points, right? You're summing it all up. You're not taking me down into the depths and dragging me through, like, even if it was hell that you went through or whatever it was, it's just like, there is a degree of humor. There is a degree of viewing it through this lens now that has the wisdom of experience on the other side. So I think that's where we're trying to come from, and you always have a choice whether or not that resonates for you.
Yeah, and it's like, just the last thing to add to that is like the yin yang symbol. If people need to like visualize it, it's like the yin yang symbol. The black has the white in it and the white has the black in it, and they just keep moving into one another. It's a continuous cycle. There is always, in the darkness, there is the light. Like, for example, if there is a war, there is that light in it, there is that hope, there is that something that is birthed from it, where there is that crack in your heart open, so you become more compassionate, more loving, more human, reprioritizing your values, whatever it is. And then in that light, there is always the potential of the darkness. If everything is perfect in the world and everybody has everything, then what happens? People become lazy, they become narcissistic, they become complacent, they become whatever they become, it doesn't matter. So we can see how everything is always connected and always swirling in cycles. And in light, there is always the darkness. In dark, there is always the light. And yeah, and that's literally, this is just like, to me, it's so hard to translate sometimes, because I can see the bigger picture. For me, it's so easy to see the bigger picture and then to bring it back to earth and try to help, for others to understand, especially when they are in the melee of the darkness and they can't see the light, and they go, what is she on about? She doesn't understand. But I do, because I've been there, not maybe in the same capacity, but we've all been everywhere, you know. And if not in this lifetime, maybe I had that experience in previous lifetime, because we all been everything. We all had all the experiences, which is why we can feel, you know, when there are news of something, we have an emotional response, because there was a lifetime when that was you, you know. So I mean, yes, in this incarnation, maybe that is not the role I play, but we are all connected. This is all contributing to the collective experience. But how the collective experience is going to turn and which way it's gonna go, we are all creating it together. So you decide which wheel you want to hop on. What is the navigates for 2024 for you? Because, you know, you are the leader, you are the creator.
Yeah, absolutely. In the sacred pool, right? So it's just the experiences that we're having, but they're all interconnected. Yeah. Wow.
Pick a piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
You might like it, you might not.
Somebody else might be like, oh, I love that one. I love that chocolate with the pink nougat in the middle or whatever it is. And I'm
so I like the coffee ones. The one with the coffee.
Yeah, the coffee one. Yeah, I'm a buttercream girl. I like the buttercream.
So yeah, there you go. Each to their own, you know.
That's
not
great.
Each experience would be perfect for everyone. That's why I wouldn't want to be a celebrity and have no privacy. No, thank you. For some people, that's exactly what they want. Good for them.
Yeah, it takes all ends of the spectrum to create the big picture, the full picture. So, wow.
Pretty profound. I mean, 2 readings, and one had all majors, one had 3 out of 4 majors. So pretty awesome for episode 11.
Yeah, 11 came in significant for sure. That's pretty cool, because yeah, we have that 11 on the end too. So it's like from beginning to end, we have that energy coming in with that master number in the 11th month, rounding out the 11th month. Yeah.
Everything is divinely orchestrated. We just have to see the higher perspective. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah. And seeking it out. Yeah. And that's what's saying. It's seek out that light and just continue to be the seeker, you know, which is, as we talk about this energy, the Sagittarius energy of seeking out the adventure or seeking out the journey. And
that's why you choose the light seers, light seekers, right. Light seers.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. So I think that's a wrap, unless there is anything else that comes to you to share.
Oh, I think we're good. I think we have a lot here to take forward with us and reconvene here on the other side.
Perfect. So I hope that we help people to understand potentially what is this Sagittarius season about, even though, of course, the new moon in Sagittarius is still upcoming, which is what we will be diving into next time. But for now, I just would like to once again hold you back to Marisa to tell us about her new offerings and updates and everything else.
Thank you. Yeah, so at this time, there's still time to get in on the December Empowerment Pack, because when this is coming forward, we're just tapping into the beginning of the month and the month ahead, and then we'll be building up to that new moon. So it's a great time to jump in and get the 3 readings throughout the month, and really we'll be using some fun seasonal decks as well, and things that bring in some of the fun things of the season and solstice and more. So that's probably one of the biggest events going on. And then I mentioned last time the 2024 year ahead spread. So that's my big offering for the year, 24 card spread that looks forward into 2024 for you, breaking it down by month, and also oracle cards for every season, and a whole bunch of other supporting elements. And it is something that those who work with me throughout the year, or anytime check back in for a reading, we'll pull that back up and take a look and see, you know, how it's been playing out for you and factor that in. So that's one of my favorite things about getting to see the whole big picture on the other side.
Absolutely. And I'm personally very excited for mine.
I can't wait to do yours too.
Thank you. Yeah, and if people are curious with regards to maybe their solar return, to see what the next year ahead has in store for them, if you already had your natal chart read, because of course that's the blueprint for your life, then yeah, you can find all the offerings on my website, moonlightsoul369.com. And if you would like to connect, that's where you find me.
Highly recommend it. Absolutely.
Thank you. So once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope that this was delightful as for you as it was for us. And until the next time. Thank you, Marisa.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.